yeah, hope you're well. I'm just going to do a video on ego and try to explain, just give you my explanation of how I understand ego in consciousness. All my understandings that I gain are through actually looking at people and looking at how the brain works, and that's how all my understandings have come through. I don't read anything. So people talking about some lady was asking about dissolving the ego, and I have no idea what that means. But I'm just going to tell you how I understand things, and then I'll go from there. So everything that goes on in you, your traits, your personality, to how you express yourself, is actually going on inside the brain. Your brain is the hub of a part of who you are. You've got the left brain, the female brain. Your left brain is everything you are. It comes up your spine. It comes outside of this reality, the physical reality, and it's connected to frequencies of your higher self, to your soul, to the all that is, basically. So the left brain is basically who you are. The right brain holds all the experiences that you've had just in this life. So it holds all the experiences that you've had in this life, also frequencies from your family line. So it picks up beliefs, it picked up probably lots of traumas, and its whole function, the right brain, is one to be able to allow the expression of the feminine through the body, to allow you to express through the physical body, and two, to protect you as much as possible. So there's a huge center of protection, and also allowing the expression of who you are through the body. So you've got who you are is on the left side of the brain and down your spine. And however, if you've learnt not to be able to express yourself through the body, then you won't have the connections that you need to have. And part of what I do is teach people how to connect up to themselves, and to heal those aspects, so you can actually fully express who you are through the physical body, and understand who you are, understand why you're here, why you came here, and your experiences, because your experiences go way beyond this life. You've had many lives. You may be actually living, not just this life that you're living now, but many parallel lives within this life, in this life, and you are part of a massive network of consciousness. So that in itself, of helping you understand yourself, and you have all that within you. So it's like remembering who you are. The right brain has to connect up with that, but there may be things stopping that in the way. But the whole part of the healing is actually to love oneself, and that's what I see as a positive ego, to love oneself, where the masculine side is loving the feminine side, and the feminine is loving the masculine side. We're going back to self-love and proudness, and being proud of who we are, of our identity, what we allow through into this reality, being proud of who we are. Now that is a really positive ego. It's not clearing the ego where you don't have an identity. We come here to have an identity, and it's not diminishing who we are, but also understanding that we are consciousness, and we do live forever, but we have come here to have an identity, a personality, and express that outwardly. Now, so the positive ego is not threatening. It generally doesn't upset people. If you get people loving themselves and enjoying who they are, that's a really positive energy that vibrates out into someone's field. And if someone's got issues or insecurities within themselves, it's not going to bother them that much. However, then you've got the the negative ego. So when I look at a negative ego, it's always on the right side of the brain. It's something that they've learned. It's not naturally who they are. And a negative ego will consist of a negative belief about themselves. So they could, if on we do a common one, so people will believe that they're ugly, believe that they're ugly. So that would be the base energy. They either been told that through their childhood, or this part of their brain lacks the feminine energy, so they don't feel themselves, or they've had a mother or a father that's felt the same, so they have a frequency of I'm ugly. To combat that frequency, then they have to do something about it, to believe something different, so they can then believe, okay, well, I'm not ugly, so how do I cope with that? So okay, right, I'm beautiful. But they tell themselves, but they don't quite believe it, because that base energy, doesn't matter if you do affirmations and tell yourself differently, it will just put a plaster on. And then they may go into, you find like the most insecure people who believe that they're not confident in their appearance, they may go, especially women, they go in different direction. They'll go in, all the how they look, so they've got their lips, they've got everything done to galore, the women that do that. And they're the women that are the most insecure. Or you see it with men, the bodybuilders and everything like that. So at the gym, you see all the big men, and have a quick look. They're really insecure. They've been made to grow up feeling not strong or weak, or they're demasculated somehow. So in their eyes, how do they masculate themselves? Bring back there. So they have to do. But that base feeling that they have is still there, and that's what drives them. So it basically, the people project out a frequency, and which is not true. There's like this untrustworthy, that's not truly how they feel, and they have to amplify it so much because they have to drown the original frequency. Now the original frequency, the negativity of feeling, I don't feel ugly or demasculated, the little ones, they don't want to feel that. But unfortunately, a child that feels that way, because a child's energy is so strong, it's generally really strong. If everyone's seen a baby cry, or a little child having a temper tantrum, and the energy they have is huge. And that energy, that trauma it stays within the brain, and it will keep firing away and keep radiating out. And therefore, as an adult, people can cover it with a plaster. And therefore it creates an ego. So a man at the gym, the big bad, big hard man, or however they project themselves, or a woman that's who looks, they don't look stunning, but they don't actually feel it inside. This is like an ego. So someone's ego, negative ego, they actually tell you what the ego is, because it's just the opposite of how they present themselves, because the negative ego is just putting a plaster on the pain that they have. And that frequency is off-putting for people, because it's like a mistrust. It's someone portraying something that's not truly them. They're not being honest with themselves. They may be in complete and utter denial of this. They're not aware of this. I grew up to believe I grew up to believe I was stupid. Not someone said, "Oh, you're stupid," but I struggled with reading and writing when I was at school. And there was two ways how I dealt with that was, I believed I knew everything. And that's, we was trying to counteract that. Actually, I felt really, really insecure about my intellect. And so we were like at home watching game shows, and I know that. I didn't know anything at all. But that's how I would present, and it must have been really bloody annoying for my family. I know it all, or if I'm arguing, and be like, I know, it would. be annoying. But then I found the joy of not knowing things. I found that, and actually part of my what I do now is not knowing. It's like the most amazing energy, because your right brain just gets into this state of learning, and that's what we need to do, is learn about who we are. So I had to face my insecurity. Actually, one of the first beliefs I broke down within myself is it was that my huge insecurity about my intelligence, and then that kind of started the snowball of waking up to myself. I wouldn't be able to wake up to myself and understand myself and help other people understand themselves if I didn't break that down first, because that was a huge stopper for me. It would have been for anybody. How can you teach somebody anything about themselves if they believe they know everything? But deep down, that was just a plaster for me because I was very insecure about my intellect. So that's the you've got the negative ego, and then you've got a really positive ego of just being confident and liking yourself, loving yourself, and that gets projected out onto everybody around you. And that goes on to your kids, and if building your kids' self-esteem up and getting them to love themselves is actually a lot, especially when they're young. It's a lot to do about you and how you feel about yourself. The parents and stuff, it's a lot to do with, because if I look at my insecurity within myself back then, my intellect, that just came from my family line. So my mum was very insecure about herself, and I lived in that energy, that frequency, and then that just got passed and passed and passed. That just got passed on to me. So it may have gone down many generations. So the negative ego and the positive ego. The negative ego, when you see a negative ego in somebody, it will make you feel very uncomfortable, because there's two frequencies. It's not pure, and it's not really how they feel, and you'll pick that up. And it's not to it's really to compassion, because there may be complete denial. You may have this yourself, and it's like understanding, going back to reflecting and going back to, well, why do I feel like this? Did your mum feel like this? Did your dad feel like this? And challenge it. People that believe that they're not intelligent, or loads of things that they can feel insecure about. It's actually challenging these concepts that have been created in the right side of the brain, and really breaking these down, because they're absolute rubbish. We tend to believe absolute rubbish about ourselves, and believe the lies that we tell about ourselves, and these lies hurt us, and then we have to counteract it and put a plaster on it, and that creates these weird frequencies within us that are just not true. Somebody who naturally is confident and naturally loves themselves and everything like that projects that on either side of the brain. It comes naturally. You don't have to do affirmations or anything like that. You naturally, the heart, who you are, is naturally confident and beautiful, and connected to an intelligence that is way beyond what we've seen in this reality so far. So yeah, okay, I'll leave that there. I hope everyone is well, and enjoy the Christmas period. Okay, you take care. Bye.